So remember these door plugs and see if you can see where I missed them in this video. I'm going to have to take the door back apart. Yeah, I managed to pull the door handle off of the Suburban. Still actually functions if you're careful with it, but it needs to be replaced. Of course, I went on Amazon, looked up the parts, and they were $20 for one or something like $50 for all four. So I went ahead and bought all four. Don't know what I have. Oh, and of course there's a box within a box. Excellent. Ah, and they're labeled. This is great. Right rear, front left. This is the one we need. See, this one is labeled FL for Florida or front left. Not even Florida, unfortunately. Open this up. Okay, and it has like a blue protective film on it. Everything looks like it's there and in good shape. Except there's a keyhole, and I don't know my left from my right. Left would be, of course, driver's side, and front right would be passenger side. Now we're getting there. Okay, so this is the passenger door handle. It does have a protective covering over it. Looks good. I think I'm going to leave that on. Okay, so knowing that these handles break pretty regularly, if you have any experience with these vehicles, you know that those are going to break. I'm going to package these up and I'm going to save them for a later date. Now, the tools you'll need for this job, of course, you need a small flat screwdriver and a 10mm socket. I also have some tape. I've got some painter's tape, and I might even need some duct tape, so I've got that as well. You know, if you've ever had a door panel off before, you know that there's some risk in damaging clips and things behind the door, so we'll try to be as careful as we can, and I'll try to call out where the issues lie. But first thing we'll do is we'll take off this triangular piece up by the mirror. Now this does pull straight off. There is 3 clips behind it. If you pull this one off at an angle, you risk damaging one of the clips. Okay, and we're fortunate, you can see all 3 clips are there. Just set that aside. Okay, the next thing to do is to remove this lock. You actually have to get behind this little square piece and pry this out and then pull up, and then this will come out. Go ahead and set that aside. Now there's a few different things we could do next. So the next thing I'll do is I'll pull off behind the door pull here. There's actually a panel that comes off. I'll do the same thing. Use a screwdriver, get behind, just pull that straight out. You can see that's what it looks like behind. There's actually 3 locking tabs and an alignment tab. Set that aside. There's also a cover back behind the door handle here. There we go. Of course, there's a 10mm behind there. And then we also have to pull up on the back of the switch panel here. There, that came off. That took quite a bit of force. And we'll pull this up as much as the wires will allow. And on the back side we'll disconnect wires from this panel. These each have a little tab here that you push in. You can see that. Push that in and then pull it out. Okay, and we'll set that aside. Now we'll go ahead and remove our 10mm bolts. There should be 3 of those. There's 2 behind the door handle here. Get down there where you can kind of see back in there. We're now at the stage where we're going to remove the door panel. This is typically where people, myself, wreck the clips that hold the door panel in. So we're going to do our best to be gentle and patient here. They make a lot of different tools for prying. I have a pry bar with some tape on it, but they do make a lot of really nice plastic pry tools. You want to try to pry as close to the clips as you can. Okay, there aren't any here. There's one here, here, and here. And then right in here, there's going to be one that you have to lift up on. That's typically the one I break. All right, just continue working around the bottom. And of course the front side as well. I think we're coming loose. And then of course you got to lift up because the top actually clips down into the door frame. So now that the door panel is loose, you can go ahead and lift it off. But there's some items on the back side that we'll have to attend to here. There are wires going into the heated seat here. And then of course the cable for the door handle itself. The door attachment for the inside is actually broken here. Tabs are broke out, but there are 2 tabs that you push in and then you're able to pull that out. Now the heated seat wiring is actually kind of hardwired in there, and I'm not going to take this whole handle out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let this door panel just set up next to the door like that. So I'm just going to lean it up against. Now this insulation here, be careful to pull that away so that you don't rip it. Just kind of work it down around the edges. There's some pretty good glue holding it in. You don't need to completely remove this, just pull it down a little ways, because where you need to get is behind this plug. Okay, so I'm going to take my screwdriver and pop that plug right out, and we'll save that for later. Now if you can see, it's hard to see, but way up in there, there is a 10mm that has to come out. It's a bit tough to capture, but I'll do my best. So the rear hole is already broken off, so we'll go ahead and we'll move to the front, and there's actually a cable that runs in the way, so you kind of have to work yourself around that cable. You may have to hold the door handle on the outside. Now, more than likely, you will drop the bolt to the bottom, which I of course have. So you'll have to try to retrieve that. There's actually a little lip in there that this got caught on. We'll set that aside and save that. Okay, you can see I was actually able to remove that door panel. It wasn't hooked up after all. The wires were just tangled up in this mess. Actually, one of the wires that goes into the switch cluster hooks up the heated seats. So there you go. That can come out of the way. So now our bolts are out on the handle. Now what we'll do is we'll kind of work this forward like that, and that should allow us to take the handle off of that knob right there. Okay, and we lost the 10 millimeter that's in the back, so we're going to have to find that. It's probably in the door panel somewhere. So let me do some searching and see if I can find that. With some hunting, I was able to find the bolt. Turns out I'm an idiot. It was in the door after all. The part of the door handle that broke off, it was still threaded to that. So there it is. Found it. So now what we'll do is we'll take our new door handle and go to the outside. Put it on the connecting rod. Take it in just like that. So it fits in there really nice. I'm just going to leave this protective coating on until I'm done because my hands are dirty and I'm going to get it all messed up. Now, there's a trick to this because getting these bolts in there without losing them is a problem. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of my tape. I'm going to put the bolt in the socket. And I'm just going to tape the washer onto the socket. See, something like that. Not pretty, but you get the idea. May have to go on the outside here. There we go. Yep, that helps get everything aligned. And I'll go ahead and just get a few turns started in that to make sure I don't cross thread anything. Okay, now that that's started, I can pull my socket and wrench out. And then we'll do the same thing with the front bolt. There we go, taped on. And remember this one, there is I think it's a lock cable that's in the way. And it does run exactly where you want it to go. So we'll do the same thing over here. We'll go on the outside. There we go, you can see the bolt there. Alright, now that we have the door handle tightened, make sure your door is unlocked, which is up. We're going to go ahead, shut the door, make sure it works. And it does. So now, we just start putting everything back together. The first thing is to get this insulating panel back into place as best you can. One thing I like to do is use a little bit of duct tape to keep it in place. Tape it up at the top, just to help hold it up. And then just a little bit on the side. Now we're ready to bring our door panel back. One thing to remember is don't get these wires lost. There's been a few times I've put these door panels back together and left the wires down in there, and then I have to take it apart again. And then of course heated seat wire also gets fed up through there, like such. So we have all of our wires. Double check, make sure, because like I said, I usually forget a wire or two. Yep, that all looks good. We can go ahead and hook up the inside door handle. Now, the door panel itself sits down and lips over the top of the door here. So make sure you get that good and lined up first. Then everything else should just fall into place. So we'll go back and start pushing our clips in. Thing I like to do is make sure the holes line up where the bolts go. Okay, now we can go ahead, get our switch panel, start plugging that in. And these will only go in one way. As you can see, I can't plug it in there, only plugs in there. The big one, it goes up there. There. Looks like I got all my wires. Let's go ahead and fish all that back down in. That snaps right into place. I'll go back and get our bolts. Make sure we drop a few of them. Make sure we get those good and tight. There we go. And then we'll go up to the upper handle. Get that one started. Now we can go ahead and start putting our plastic covers back in place. Snap on the triangular one. And this is the one that goes behind the door handle. And in this one, the curved parts go toward the bottom. Like that, back in there. And then finally we've got our lock. I want to make sure our doors are unlocked. We'll go ahead and slide this on. It actually slides down and stops. Push that panel back in, make sure it works. Okay, those work. Everything is good and tight. Go ahead and try shutting the door again. Everything shuts good. It opens good. So there we go. There we just installed the door handle. This will work on The Suburbans, Chevy pickups, Tahoes, Yukons. So just make sure you go slow, use some patience, be careful with those plastic clips. Luckily we didn't break any this time, but typically I do. Alright, so that concludes this video. Make sure to subscribe. Check out the history and the things we've done to this Suburban already. You also can keep track of everything we do from here on in. So there'll be more videos to come. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.